Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making Thai fried rice. For this recipe, I've used chicken breast which I purchased from Licious. My knife was a little blunt, so I gave it a little head start by sharpening it. Cut thin slivers of your chicken breast and then slit them into two. I've used 2 chicken breasts to serve 2, but we had a little leftover, so I guess 3 people can eat it. It's always a treat to use a well-sharpened knife. It will give you perfect edges and the right shape that you're looking for. Once you're done chopping up all your chicken breasts, split them into 2 so that they're smaller pieces. Put them in a bowl and give them a good rinse. Let the residue water be in for a bit and then you can squeeze it all out. Once you've drained out all the water, add about 1.5 teaspoons of coarsely ground black pepper, about half a teaspoon of white wine vinegar. I bought mine at Nature's Basket. About 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. So this recipe requires a lot of heat. So I've added Cajun seasoning. You can add up the heat with some cayenne pepper if you'd like. But we're using Thai red chilies in our paste. So I decided to go a little easy on the spice there. Also added about 1 cup of brown cooking vinegar. Give it all a mix. I tried using my spoon, but hey, I'm a home chef and I prefer using my hands. And I also think when you cook with your hands, it adds a lot of love to your food. Refrigerate this for about 2 hours so that the vinegar can start its work and cure your chicken pieces. If you don't have that much time on hand, then definitely try and avoid using as much vinegar. You can use soy sauce instead. But if you're using vinegar, then you have to let the chicken rest for about 2 hours before you start. Now for the paste, I've used Thai bird chilies and a few garlic pods and a healthy 1-inch or piece of fresh ginger. Now the trick when you're using the pestle is to add a little bit of salt so that it starts watering. It leaves water basically, and it can water your spice and it makes a good paste. I pounded this for about 2 minutes. Always pound over a wooden surface or a piece of cloth like a towel, because that will reduce the impact on your platform. So keep pulling your masalas together and keep pounding it until you get a nice paste. Now I made the biggest mistake of my life using my fingers. My hand was on fire for at least 2 hours after cooking. So be a little careful. These little baby chilies are bombs. I needed some chicken stock and I'd used up all my fresh stock, so I used a Maggi chicken stock cube. 1 cube with about 1 cup of warm water, and I've just let it sit. In another bowl, take 2 parts oyster sauce and 1 part soy sauce. You can use dark soy or light soy depending on the kind of salt intake you prefer. I've used dark soy. On a large pan, heat up a ton of oil. Don't worry, we won't use up all the oil in this recipe, but you need to fry an egg. So we will pop our egg into a little bowl and let the oil heat up because you need it to sizzle and make a crispy fried egg. 2 minutes on medium heat and I've popped my egg right into that hot oil. As you can see, it's kind of spreading. So while we need to cook it on both sides, it's good to like splash a little oil on top. When you pull it out of the fire, make sure it's a little crispy, and then you can set it on some kitchen napkins so that it soaks up a little bit of the oil. There you go. As promised, I got rid of some of the oil. Now you add your chili, garlic and ginger paste. This is going to make you cough. So you can toss it for about 30 seconds and then immediately toss in an onion cut julienne. Let it sizzle for about 2 minutes until the onions are a little soft. I've added a little more oil because I felt like the onions were taking up all the oil and then there wasn't enough for the chicken. Now toss your chicken and make sure each piece is touching the wok. The reason being you want the chicken to cook evenly. So let it rest for exactly 2 minutes until you see the color is changing and you feel like the chicken is cooking. And then you can give it a toss, turn it around and cook it on the other side. At all times, try and make sure all pieces of the chicken are touching the wok and getting some heat so that it cooks evenly and you don't have some parts that are crispy and some parts that are soggy. I put in the broth and cook the chicken in the broth for a bit so that the chicken can absorb some flavor. On the side, I've cooked up some brown rice and kept it ready for my fried rice. I've made sure that the rice is not sticky and it is just right. While this sizzles, you can season it with a little bit of Thai basil. I did not have Thai basil, so I used Italian basil. What this will do is give the broth a little flavor, which in turn will come into your rice. Give it a good stir and let it boil for a bit. You can add your brown rice to this. Give it a little mix. And then add your soy marinade. Just be a little careful when you're stirring. Always use a big ladle so that you don't break your rice. Add some more leftover basil and then just give it a toss. Now if you noticed, I never added any salt to this recipe because the chicken had some salt and the soy sauce has some salt and the paste has some salt. To plate, I've used a bowl, stuffed the chicken rice in it, and then decorated it a little with the basil and added my fried egg on top of it. Bon appetit! Or like they say in Thailand, kapun ka. Thank you for watching. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel.